Alright guys, so we're back with another viewer requested video. Today we're doing steering wheel removal as well as instrument cluster removal. I'm going to show you guys what tools you'll need to get this job done, as well as go into a little bit of detail about the specific trim removal for each of them, what it takes to get those pieces out. The steering wheel is not so hard as much as the instrument cluster is, and we got a lot of stuff to cover with the instrument cluster, so that'll probably be the second part of the video. Alright, so some of the tools you're going to need include a T-40 Torx bit. In the time it's taken me to get around to making this video, I've actually lost the set I used to have whenever I first took off my steering wheel, and I had to go out today and buy a new set from Harbor Freight, and I found this this little case here, 100 piece security bit set for $10. Really can't beat that, being so cheap, you know. So I picked it up. Definitely you're going to need a screwdriver. You're definitely going to need a socket wrench with a 21mm socket and an extension for that socket wrench of at least, I don't know, 2 to 4 or 5 inches long, so that you can remove the center nut from the steering wheel column. In addition to that, you may want some blue painter's tape to allow you to see how you would line this back up once you're done. As you can tell, I'm already done with that. This is at the end of the very end of the video. I've completed everything. This was just the last thing because I didn't know what tools I was going to need for sure. But this is all the tools that I used during the video. I didn't use anything else that I can think of. So, some of these tools aren't necessary. You don't necessarily need a flathead screwdriver. It came in handy when I was removing or popping some of the clips loose on the instrument cluster, but it's not necessary. You can do that all by hand if you wanted to. Some scissors could come in handy for cutting the tape. You could also use like a razor blade or a knife or something, just something sharp. It's just there to remind you that you will need something like that, so that you can have a clean cut line to show you where to remount the steering wheel properly. But yeah, that's about it for tools. So I had to call it quits yesterday. It was getting too dark. It's a little dark today, but I'm hoping to be able to get some stuff done. We gotta pop the hood and take the negative lead off the battery. So let's go ahead and pop the hood, and we're gonna do that real quick. But first thing, take your 10mm socket wrench, and we're gonna take the negative terminal off this battery. There we go. Alright, so when you go to reconnect this, there's always a possibility, it's happened to me before, and I almost hit my head on the hood jumping backwards from it. But when you reconnect this, if it's been a little while, the computer will tell the car, or there will be a signal sent to the computer that tells the car to engage a security measure, which will be to start blasting the horn, like it's like you push the emergency button on the back of your key fob. So if that happens, all you gotta do is hit the key fob a couple of times, and it'll stop blaring the horn in your ears. But just a little tidbit, just in case it happens, so you don't freak out too much if it does. Alright, so now that we have the negative terminal of the battery disconnected, we're ready to break out the screwdriver and attach the Torx T-40 bit to it and break loose the 2 screws on the back of the steering wheel. Alright, so I know the lighting's not going to be the best because it is kind of late in the day, but inside of there is the T-40 screw. So we have our T-40 bit. We're going to insert in there, and we're going to turn that screw loose and do the same on the other side. So mine is in no way a good representation of the effort it'll take to turn this, but mine was very easy to break loose in there. So let's see if the right side's just as easy. Get it to seat in. There we go. Alright, so let's see. Yeah, that was easier than it should have been. Probably because I've just done this too many times. Even though I've only ever done it once, just having done it the first time makes breaking this that much easier. So finish unscrewing these, and I'll show you the next part. A little tip: if you think that you're not getting it, put pressure behind the airbag as you're unscrewing it, and you'll feel it pop loose. Just start unscrewing and put a little pressure behind, and it'll come right out. I can't do that with one hand, so I gotta turn the camera off again. Alright, so now the airbag is loose, and behind it, I don't want to scuff up any of my stuff here, but behind it, it's got a harness clip and this little piece here that holds that wire in. And if I remember right, all you do is you pull this little orange pin up using either your fingernail or a like a flathead screwdriver, and then this whole piece will pop right out. So if I can get it to sit, I'll grab my flathead and show you guys what it looks like. So I've got it to kind of hang here, and let's see, maybe I can get this underneath. Just like that. And now I don't want this thing to fall. There we go. And now it's just this piece holding it on, which is just twisting the screwdriver in that little lip there. So that's airbag removal. If you got to replace an airbag, that'll teach you how to replace an airbag. Let's see, I wish I had more lighting in here. We got this clip connector here, I think has to come off. Might not. I know this one does. Pull this one out. Oh. This is the fun one. That nut there, what you should do is lay a piece of tape up here between the steering wheel and this cowl, and then cut the tape through this little slot here, so that when you put your steering wheel back on, you align all the splines back together properly. So we will be doing that because I don't want to mess up my steering just trying to make this video. Alright, so the nut here is a 21mm socket, or it takes a 21mm socket. So I'm going to go ahead and break that loose right now. Just a little reminder, make sure you put your piece of tape on here so that you can line it back up without too much difficulty. If your wheels are centered, you probably won't have too hard of a time. Just put the steering wheel back on centered, but you'll see what I'm talking about whenever I pull this off. If there's enough lighting, the splines that the steering wheel sits on. Alright, so let's break this loose. I've done mine before, so it might be a little easier. I think I may have to hold the steering wheel with one hand and twist with the other to keep it from twisting on me. I'm going to see if I can't do it with my leg though. Might be good to have an extension. You're definitely going to need an extension from here to here, but it might be good to have one even longer than that. Alright, so I broke it loose without the need for another extension. And I don't think I'm going to take it all the way off just yet. Actually I am. I'm going to see if this is the only thing holding the steering wheel on. I think it is. I think it's the only thing that's holding this assembly on here. So let's go ahead and take it off real quick. Something I'd read, and if I remember right, what the guy said to do was basically you kind of hit the bottom of the steering wheel with the palm of your fist, you know, and it breaks it loose from this spline. I don't think anything else is holding it in, because it wouldn't make sense to have anything else holding it in. Just this part is the only thing that could possibly be holding it in. So let's hit it and see what happens. Well, came flying at me. All I did was I hit it with just this part of my fist, right back here, right behind this, on both sides, both fists, same time, and it popped it loose from the spline. The tape is still on. What is this? Why is this on here? This will void your warranty if removed. Alright, whatever. So this is the spline that I was talking about, and that's important to get the steering wheel seated properly back on it. But that's it. So the steering wheel's off, and I'm gonna take it inside and show you guys what it looks like in the light. We got to remove 4 screws from the back here to get started. We got one here, 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 and here. Pop all those out, and this black piece will come off, but don't pull too hard, because you'll have a wiring harness going to this pedal shifter and one going to this pedal shifter. So let's go ahead and get these pulled off, and I'll show you how to disconnect the wiring harness. Alright, next part's pretty simple. These are just the where they have a little bit of a lip, and you push it down and they come sliding out. So you should be able to get those pretty easy on your own. So I'm not going to take this completely apart, because that would just be overkill. It's pretty self-explanatory. I would recommend taking a picture so you make sure you get all the screws back in the proper places. But you remove the screw here, screw, 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 there, and I think that's it. That's all you have to remove. And it looks like we didn't actually have to touch these here to remove anything. I don't think that they're holding anything on. It seems like what they are is they're tension for the horn. These press down, and they're for the horn. So definitely don't touch those. But yeah, you got screws holding this assembly in, a wiring harness also attached to it, which I think you can just pull it off and leave it hanging from it. 2 more holding this in. This needs to come out. That needs to come out. This here, and then the whole piece will come out. So in the next part of the video we'll do the instrument cluster, but that's gonna have to wait until tomorrow because we are completely out of daylight outside. So I'm gonna get this thing reassembled, and this should be it. Something I noticed, and I wanted to mention it before I go and put this up, but these paddle shifters, they're held in by a screw, and then let me get my lighting back. These little clips on the edges here, which you would just push in, and this whole piece should come out. And I'm contemplating whether or not I want to, since I've got the steering wheel off, take them off and paint them a different color. I'm wondering if that would look good, paint them white or something. But it's too cold and wet outside, and I can do it another day. Taking the steering wheel off is pretty easy. Alright, so this is like day 3 of trying to get this video finished up. But today, let's get this out of here. Alright, so first off, you've probably noticed them before if you've been in the car for any time at all. But underneath the cowl here, there's 2 screws. You got to remove those, and then we'll be able to take the cowl out. Or the shroud, or whatever you want to call this thing. Behind here, there's this piece here, and this is going to also have to come out, but we'll get to that in a minute. So let's go ahead and remove these screws. Alright, so with the screws removed, you probably need 2 hands for it, but you'll wiggle this kind of side to side, and it's clips holding it in here, and it'll come popping out. Let me see, maybe I can... No, I don't want to try to do it one-handed. I'm going to go ahead and do it with 2 hands, and then I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. So I actually stood up and kind of put some pressure, wiggled it side to side, and it came out. And it slides all the way off like that. So, lay that down there. So behind here we got screws here and here that you'll have to remove, and then once we have removed this piece here, there will be 2 more screws down there. So I'm gonna get this piece up and I'll show you what it looks like behind there. So to pop this piece out, the way I did it is I put pressure here while pulling back, and then also right here while pulling back, and so now this piece is loose and I'll be able to slide it out at some point. I released the steering wheel lock, the adjustment lock, so I could push this part down, and that should allow me to remove this if I use 2 hands. Once more, 2 hands really comes in handy. Get it? Handy? So I started to try to remove these screws without taking this little piece back here out, and it's looking like I may end up messing up the screws if I try to go that route. So I'm going to take this piece out, and I'll show you how I do it afterwards. Well, that was actually a lot easier than I was making it out to be. But this piece, there's a clip here and a clip here. If you wedge a screwdriver in right here or a trim tool and just kind of pop it up, even one side coming up is enough to pop it loose. So now we have complete unrestricted access, for the most part, to those screws down there. So let's go ahead and pull those out. Alright, and the moment we've all been waiting for, it's out of there. So there's going to be some, obviously there's going to be some wiring connected to the back of this that'll have to be disconnected before you can remove it from the car. Definitely wanting to use 2 hands for this, so I'm going to do it off camera, but I'll show you what the connectors and everything look like afterwards. Alright, so we have the steering column pushed down, finally. Now we can pull this out further. Lifting it up, and it's just going to kind of sit here for me. Good, it's set there. Alright, I'm going to pull the wires off and show you what it looks like next. Yeah. So it was just one. It's just this one. That little piece there. It's one of those where you push down a little tab and it slides right out. So back here you're going to notice that holy crap, there's no screws in it. What this is held in by are these clips. And these clips are very weak. I know I broke at least one or two doing this the first time. So to show you the amount of clips that are in this, this is clipped to the white is clipped to the blue. Come on, focus. They're clipped together like that. So the only wiring connection was actually this one here, and it's that little white piece there. It's got a tab on it that you push down and it'll slide right out. So there's no screws in this thing as far as I can remember. It's all clips holding it in here. And if you're wanting to paint the trim, the only one you have to remove, or the only clips you have to remove, are the ones holding on to this, the ones directly connected to this. You got to be careful with these clips because you can break them. They're very flimsy. They don't like being messed around with. But it didn't take too much effort, and it shouldn't take you very long to do. Just be patient and be gentle with it. It is very thin plastic. So I had this thing completely disassembled, and that's what it's going to take to get this thing apart, is to completely disassemble it, because there's clips that you really can't take off of here until you've removed the back black piece. So the next part is just to start popping loose all these clips holding it to this. And your goal is to remove the white piece now, which holds the, I guess, the computer board here. And once you've removed this, I'll show you what's on the other side. I can't do it one-handed, so I'm going to put the camera back up here. The first thing I did was I aimed for these three clips here. Getting these out will allow you to work around it. So just put pressure on the white piece going forward, and it should stay out of the clips long enough for you to pop it out like that. And then you just work your way around from there. Hitting each clip, just lightly lifting up the screwdriver. Be careful not to slip your finger inside of here. It's so dark. I hope the camera can see all this. But be careful not to slip your finger in there, or you will get or you could get scuffs or scratches. Luckily I don't have any of those because of the way it landed. But everything's okay. So that's how it comes out. And then from there, you don't want to clean this with anything less than a really nice towel, microfiber towel. But this would be a great time to clean the inside of this if it's gotten dusty over time. But all these pieces will come out. It's all just clips holding it in. It's pretty simple. If you've made it this far, this is the easy part. So that's it. I'm going to get this thing put back together before I mess something else up. Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, leave a like and a comment down below. And definitely subscribe if you haven't already. We got 2 more videos coming out before the end of the year. We got upper hatch LED strip, how-to on that, and then also a how-to on the shift knob replacement. I'm putting shift knob replacement closer to the end of the year because I still got to find one that I like and buy it and get it shipped out to me. So once I do that, you guys will have that video. But until then, once more, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.